Surrender the terrorists or surrender power. That is your choice.
President Bush feels the same way, and today he'll travel to New York City to Ground Zero to spread the word that America won't tolerate this.
Meantime, New Yorkers' overwhelming support. Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, he has a 90% approval rating, but it's about 50-50 on whether he should be able to serve a third term in office.
The Red Cross is negotiating with the Taliban to let aid workers back into Afghanistan. Millions of people are at risk of starving there.
And security is tight at a bioport in Lansing, Michigan. That company produces a vaccine to fight anthrax, which is a deadly chemical. Our government fears terrorists may use anthrax against us in the future. And there will be extra security for pilots. American and United Airlines say they will start to install steel bars on cockpit doors. Other airlines are waiting for federal instructions before they do it.
The news that the magistrate recommends throwing out the wiretaps is good news for the Eisenbergs, who all along contended that the tapes were distorted and taken out of context. Legal observers predict the Eisenbergs are off the hook.
The case is over. Without the tapes, the government has no case, and quite frankly, they need to step up and do the right thing and dismiss the charges and let the Eisenbergs get on with their life.
The magistrate also criticized lead detectives Linda Burton and Bill Blake, suggesting they used a careless approach in getting the judge to grant extensions to the wiretap.
The judge has just blistered the conduct of the detectives in this case and concluded that they deliberately misled a state judge, and that's a crime.
Sabrina's parents won't talk about the judge's ruling, but do want the focus in the case to change.
We just hope that, you know, the authorities or anybody out there who's seen Sabrina will call in to the authorities, and that hopefully this will facilitate her coming home to us.
It will now be up to Federal Judge Maraday to accept or reject the magistrate's recommendation. Brian Goff, Fox 13 News.
And frankly, I think we need to return some respect and civility to the mayor's office. And
this man, Jim Humphrey, thinks he can do that if elected the next mayor for the city of Fort Myers.
I believe the citizens of our great community need a new direction, and that's what led me to start looking at, could I make a contribution?
Humphrey's been practicing local government law for 25 years in Fort Myers. He says he's seen effective government at work, but thinks the city has gotten away from the basics.
We need to do more of the streets, street lights, sidewalks, and less of the promotional type of expenditures that I've seen occur.
An example of that, these electronic message boards the city introduced last year. Humphrey also has concerns with Bookabus and worries the mayor jumped on board the high-speed ferry without doing his homework.
Did you talk to anyone there at the bank?
The mayor, on the other hand, considers the signs and Bookabus two of his accomplishments, along with neighborhood improvements like streetlights and the tree program.
We have a lot more on the way in the form of sidewalks and street lights and beautification. But
Bruce Grady tells us over the last 3 years, besides delivering goods, he's also helped solve the city's financial crisis.
I think economically speaking, it couldn't have been a better last 3 years. And we're providing a lot of other projects because of that.
As for the future, economic development tops Grady's list. And for Humphrey, the first step is getting elected.
The 2-2 pitch. Late last night, the Rays traded pitcher Albie Lopez and catcher Mike DeFelice to the Arizona Diamondbacks. In return, they get pitcher Nick Bierbrat, outfielder Jason Conti, and cash. Now, Lopez was an original member of the Rays and started on opening night this season against Toronto. He was 5-12 this season with a 5.34 ERA. The Phoenix native is a free agent at the end of the season, and the Rays were not expected to re-sign him. DeFelice actually started the game last night but was removed after the team finalized the trade. He was also an original member of the team and was hitting .205 this season with 2 homers and 9 RBIs. In return, the Rays get left-handed pitcher Nick Bierbrat, who was 2-2 with an 8.22 ERA in 5 games. The Rays also receive outfielder Jason Conti, the Diamondbacks' first pick in the 1996 draft. Conti was hitting .330 for Arizona's AAA team in Tucson with 9 homers and 50 RBIs. Conti is assigned to the Rays AAA team in Durham, North Carolina. Now, the move frees up salary for the Rays to pay for another hot prospect. They are recalling catcher Toby Hall from Durham. Hall was recently voted the best prospect in all of AAA baseball. He played in the All-Star Futures game in Seattle earlier this month and the AAA All-Star game as well. Bill Murphy, Fox 13 News.
Tonight, Fox takes reality to the next level with Murder in Small Town X.
10 ordinary people from all over America will enter this quiet New England town. What happens when they get there?
You just witnessed the murder of the Flint family.
Will be the challenge of their lives.
Chosen 10 become investigators competing against one another to unveil the killer before he or she strikes again.
And how they do that is those 10 real people go out into this town and they meet the people who really live here. And those people who they think really live here are really actors.
For the show to be successful, it must first be believable. So to make that happen, the production staff took over the small town of Eastport, Maine, and turned it into the town of Sunrise. They set up fake businesses, fake identities, a fake mayor, and even a fake newspaper. Fake, that is, to everyone except the 10 investigators.
This is where the Sunrise Herald is published every day, and as the actor told me, he said that he asked me the question of, oh, how often am I printing the newspaper? And I said, well, as much as the art department can generate.
It took months to realistically create the murder and the town of Sunrise, and hopefully all that work will pay off by giving the investigators as well as the viewers the chance of a lifetime.
I think for a lot of people the fantasy is, wouldn't you love to get dropped into Mission Impossible? Wouldn't you love to get dropped into CSI? Wouldn't you love to go into any of these primetime shows that you see and say, I could do it better than they're doing it? And now we're going to give people a chance to do that.
A deadly bus crash on a highway in Tennessee left 6 people dead, including a great-grandmother from Central Florida. Officials say a 29-year-old man with a Croatian passport attacked the bus driver with a box cutter, causing the bus to crash. The suspect and 5 other people died in the crash, and one of them was 78-year-old Amelia Ortiz Nerio. She was on her way home to Lake Wales. But the bus driver is recovering and says he plans to continue his 24-year career as a Greyhound bus driver.
2 more teenagers have been arrested in connection with yesterday's small explosion at Jefferson High School. Both are 16 years old, and the 3 suspects arrested yesterday stood before a judge this morning. We are withholding their identities because all our juveniles, the 3 15-year-olds picked up yesterday, are charged with felonies. Police say they loaded a plastic bottle with household chemicals that blew up. No one was hurt, but the school was evacuated while authorities made sure the building was safe. One worried parent who rushed to the school was taken to the hospital with chest pains. This morning, the prosecution called the explosion a well-planned, premeditated act.
There is new information today on that crash that killed Dale Earnhardt. NASCAR officials said this morning that Earnhardt's seatbelt came apart, something they say they've never seen happen in all of NASCAR's 52 years of racing.
Those are the kind of the fabric between the buckle part and the adjuster part is where it broke, right in the area where my index finger is, right here.
NASCAR officials say they don't believe the belt was cut by the rescuers who came to Earnhardt's aid, but they say they're not going to speculate on what caused the belt to fail.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. We don't know why, we don't know how, we don't know when yet. All we know is that there was a broken belt at this point.